An old friend, Dr. Chris Hansen, came and got me one afternoon. And he said, Connie, you need to come with me and see what's going on in your town. And he took me out to the godforsaken motels along the Route 1 corridor. There were hundreds of families that were in these little rooms. No way for them to eat. There was no way for them to cook a meal. Dr. Hansen turned to me and said, Connie, Lawrence is your town. There are hungry, homeless kids. Fix it. We pulled together this ragtag band of volunteers and started bringing meals out to the families.
When you visualize homelessness, what do you imagine? I inevitably hear about folks sleeping on a park bench, that kind of public street homelessness. But I think one of my jobs here at HomeFront is to complicate people's understanding of homelessness a little bit. The age in this country that you're most likely to live in an emergency shelter is infancy. When families are living paycheck to paycheck, there's no give in the monthly budget. And so that one hiccup in the system can really begin to challenge a family long term. And we're talking about families with kids, and it really is demonstrably better for those children to never experience the pain of homelessness in the first place.
And the kids would come out in the winter to get the meals from the back of the station wagons. They would have on flip-flops. Oh, they need shoes. And they'd come out without a coat on. And it became so apparent that just bringing them food was not the answer. We knew we needed to do something big and bold. I was sitting at a meeting at the Katzenbach School for the Deaf, and I looked around and they've got all these dorms. We went to the state to see about renting them, and we started our first shelter. We became acutely aware that what they needed was housing. So we developed our sister agency, Homes by TLC, that has developed permanent affordable housing, and they're still going strong.
People that are under a HomeFront roof, those are people that have to work over 2.5 jobs at entry-level wages in this community to afford a 2-bedroom apartment for your family. And so the problem is not that our families are not working hard. The cost of housing and what you can earn in this economy, there's a disconnect. And so if a family walks in here and doesn't have clothes for their kids, diapers, food, a safe place to stay tonight, we are always going to rise to meet that moment and reduce that immediate pain for that family. Education, career support, opportunities to earn adequate living wage incomes, and then how can we manage the cost? If you miss a month's rent, our first question is not where do we mail the eviction notice, it's what's going on and how can we help? Because our goal is helping keep those families stable long term.
I realized very quickly we needed some corporate support and some legal help. And Ellen Stark was one of our volunteers. I asked Ellen, and she quickly connected us with Stark & Stark. That's where we made our first set of bylaws in Stark & Stark Community Room.
Stark & Stark has a culture of giving back to the community. It wasn't hard for them to support HomeFront over the years.
Stark & Stark has been a place that we could always call on for wise counsel, for advice, for support. They've served on our boards, but I think the reason it seemed so natural to honor them was they were there at the founding, and they have supported us steadfastly ever since then.
We had to start raising funds. Stark & Stark offered us their people.
Our staff goes out of its way to assist during the holiday period, raising items or funds within the staff.
All of the development of affordable housing that we did on such a shoestring, and it was key to have Dan Haggerty from Stark & Stark volunteering his time to go through all of the legal battles with us, holding our hands. Stuff we would have been scared to do alone.
If HomeFront did not exist, 30,000 people would not get the benefit of the housing, food, clothing, and the education that this organization is able to give to them on an annual basis.
When I think about the Pennington School, they've been there literally and served and been allies. But also it's their dedication to talking about these issues with their students, to weave it into the curriculums, to ask hard questions, to really emphasize that level of dignity.
My own perceptions about homelessness and poverty, I think, were often out there someplace else and not necessarily in my own backyard. The Route 1 motels were 10 minutes down the road. They weren't some other, they were our neighbors.
Connie was in a bind because I think the school that she had worked with for a couple of years was not able to be a venue for a Christmas party. In desperation, she reached out to us, and the rest is history.
There was no way in hell we were not going to have a party. I phoned the Pennington School. They said, sure, that sounds wonderful. We'll get our kids involved. And they made magic happen. They brought the opportunity for our kids to be kids.
What blows me away the most about that holiday party is they have a room where the kids can go in and shop for gifts for the parents because they know how important it is that that child has a chance. It's also not a handout, it's a partnership.
Through peer leadership, one of the things that we did was we would go to the HomeFront offices to have a training, and the students would spend a couple hours and they would learn how to play the Survivor game. The Survivor game is real life about how tough it is to live in Mercer County, to earn minimum wage and try to make it. The peer leaders learn how to play that game and then instruct other students in that game. And I think that they're changed, their eyes are opened.
We're producing the next generation of adults who are going to be caring for the community, and we hope in kind of that image of what HomeFront does. It's not just about ticking off a box for a credit.
Terhune Orchard is a blessing in our Mercer County community.
Terhune Orchards is the Mount family farm. We've been here for 50 years. So it all started with the farming relationship and our connection with Howard and Connie.
When we started our summer camp and we had to feed children, I went to Pam Mount and said, Pam, you gotta help. Oh my God, did she help. Our kids had the best fruits all summer long for years and years.
So we're farmers and we want everyone to be able to have food. We want everyone to have a pie on Thanksgiving, so we donate pies for Thanksgiving. And I think that's really important, is to continue to support our neighbors.
There was never a Christmas or a Thanksgiving where truckloads of pies did not appear for us to give out to our families. But most importantly to me was the way they treated our kids. They made our kids feel special.
It's not just about the pies and the produce and the nourishment they give our families. It's about their level of dedication.
I think we share the same core values together, reaching the families where they are and where their needs are more holistically.
HomeFront really works hard at making sure that the people in this county get the services that they need.
Homelessness is actually very straightforward. It's solved by one thing, having a home. As overly simplistic as that seems, that's actually how easy it is. There are hundreds of families in Mercer County tonight that don't have a safe, stable place to live. And that's an overwhelming number, but it's also only hundreds of families in Mercer County, right? It's a number that we can get our hands around. The folks that are supporting HomeFront, it means more than they know. I think people think, you know, what does my $100, $1,000 make a difference? And I am so lucky that I get to see the difference that it makes every day. In my view, HomeFront is a victory of the community coming together and saying, it doesn't have to be this way. We can make a change. We've grown to 35 programs and almost 140 staff, and we're operating 24/7 in locations all over Mercer County with our two main campuses, over 150 apartments. Last year, HomeFront served over 30,000 people here in Mercer County. 30,000, that's a huge percentage of the population of Mercer County.
Being homeless is so very, very, very hard. Dignity has been the constant theme, the constant thread that runs through all of what HomeFront's programs and efforts are about. We spend a lot of energy on making sure that our environments don't look like the usual social service places. We want them to be places that say, you're worth it.